If you are watching this, there is a very good chance you are feeling confused. You might be replaying conversations in your head, trying to figure out where things went wrong. You might be asking yourself why someone who seemed so interested, so attentive, and so perfect for you suddenly pulled away, turned cold, or disappeared entirely. It leaves you with a heavy sense of rejection and a lingering doubt about your own worth. You wonder if you said the wrong thing. You wonder if you were too much or not enough. You exhaust yourself analyzing every text message, every glance, and every silence, looking for clues that will explain the sudden shift in reality. But here is the truth that is often hardest to accept when you are in the middle of that pain. You did not miss the signs because you were ignorant. You missed them because they were designed to be missed. The behavior you experienced was not a mistake on your part, nor was it a simple case of bad timing or incompatibility. It was a pattern. And patterns, especially those rooted in emotional immaturity or narcissistic traits, follow a specific logic. Today, we are going to look at 7 clear signs that a woman may be highly toxic or emotionally unavailable. Signs that men often overlook until it is too late. We are not doing this to blame, but to clarify. We are doing this so you can stop blaming yourself and start understanding the dynamics that kept you stuck. By the end of this, you will have the clarity to recognize these patterns early, protect your peace, and move forward with your self-respect intact. The first sign is what psychologists often call love bombing, but in everyday life, it feels like instant intensity. In the beginning, everything moves at a speed that feels exhilarating but unnatural. She tells you that you are different from everyone else. She says she has never felt this way before. She mirrors your interests, your values, and even your dreams with uncanny precision. It feels like you have found your soulmate. For many men, this is the validation they have been waiting for. It feels like being seen, truly seen, for the first time. But this intensity is not intimacy. Intimacy takes time to build. It requires knowing someone's flaws, their history, and their shadows. What you experienced was a projection. She was not falling in love with you. She was falling in love with the idea of you, and, more importantly, with the reflection of herself she saw in your admiration.
This happens because individuals with high levels of narcissistic traits or deep insecurity need external validation to regulate their self-esteem. They do not have a stable internal sense of worth, so they seek it urgently from others. When you provided that attention, you became a source of supply. The effect on you is profound. You become emotionally invested before you actually know the person. You skip the normal stages of getting to know someone, bypassing the red flags because the dopamine hit of being idealized is so strong. When the devaluation phase inevitably begins, you are left confused because you are mourning a person who never really existed. You are trying to get back to the version of her that was created in those first few weeks, not realizing that version was a mask. The second sign is a consistent lack of accountability. In any healthy relationship, conflicts arise. People make mistakes. They forget plans, they say hurtful things in anger, or they misunderstand intentions. In a healthy dynamic, both parties take responsibility for their part in the conflict. They apologize sincerely and work to repair the rupture. However, with a highly toxic partner, accountability is absent. If she hurts your feelings, it is because you were too sensitive. If she forgets an important event, it is because you didn't remind her clearly enough. If she lies, it is because you pushed her to it by being suspicious. This is a form of psychological manipulation known as deflection. The goal is to shift the focus from her behavior to your reaction. This happens because admitting fault threatens her fragile ego. To admit wrongdoing is to admit imperfection, and for someone with narcissistic tendencies, imperfection is unbearable. It creates a sense of shame that they cannot process, so they project it onto you. The impact on you is a gradual erosion of your reality. You start to doubt your own memory. You start to apologize for things you didn't do just to keep the peace. You walk on eggshells, constantly monitoring your tone and your words to avoid triggering her defensiveness. Over time, you lose trust in your own judgment. You become hypervigilant, always waiting for the next accusation, always ready to defend yourself against charges that seem to come out of nowhere. This state of constant anxiety is not love. It is survival mode. The third sign is subtle but pervasive: the dismissal of your boundaries. Boundaries are the lines we draw to protect our physical, emotional, and mental well-being. They tell others what we will and will not accept. In the early stages, a toxic partner may test these boundaries in small ways. She might show up unannounced after you asked for space. She might demand immediate responses to texts when you were at work. She might mock your hobbies or your friends, framing it as jealousy or love, but ultimately undermining your connections to the outside world. When you assert a boundary, she does not respect it. Instead, she argues with it. She tries to negotiate it away. She makes you feel guilty for having needs that do not align with hers. This behavior stems from a sense of entitlement. She views you not as a separate individual with your own autonomy, but as an extension of herself. Your role is to meet her needs, not to have needs of your own. When you assert independence, it is perceived as a rejection or a threat to her control. The effect on you is a loss of identity. You begin to shrink yourself to fit into the space she allows. You stop seeing your friends because it causes drama. You stop pursuing your goals because they take time away from her. You become isolated, which makes you more dependent on her for validation. This isolation is not accidental. It is a tactic to ensure that she remains the primary and often only source of emotional support in your life. The fourth sign is emotional inconsistency, often referred to as intermittent reinforcement. One day she is warm, affectionate, and engaged. The next day she is cold, distant, and critical. There is no obvious trigger for this shift. You could have done nothing differently, yet the atmosphere changes completely. This unpredictability creates a powerful psychological hook. In behavioral psychology, this is known as the slot machine effect. If you won every time you pulled the lever, you would eventually get bored. If you never won, you would walk away. But if you win occasionally, and you never know when the next win is coming, you become obsessed. You keep pulling the lever, hoping for that next hit of warmth and validation. This inconsistency keeps you off balance. You are constantly trying to figure out what you did wrong, trying to earn back the good version of her. This happens because the toxic partner uses emotion as a tool for control. By withholding affection, she keeps you anxious and eager to please. By granting it sporadically, she reinforces your dependency. The impact on you is emotional exhaustion. You live in a state of chronic stress, your cortisol levels elevated, your mind racing to solve the puzzle of her mood. You become addicted to the highs because the lows are so painful. This cycle prevents you from leaving because you are always waiting for the good times to return, believing that if you just try harder, you can make them permanent. But you cannot. The inconsistency is the feature, not the bug. The fifth sign is a lack of genuine empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. It is the foundation of connection. A toxic partner may mimic empathy when it serves her purpose, offering comforting words when she wants something from you. But when you are struggling, when you are sick, or when you are grieving, her response is often hollow or self-centered. She may change the subject to her own problems. She may minimize your pain, telling you to get over it or that you are exaggerating. She may become annoyed that your distress is inconveniencing her. This is not because she is incapable of feeling emotion, but because her emotional capacity is limited to her own experience. She views your emotions as an obstacle to her comfort. This happens because narcissistic individuals lack the cognitive empathy required to step outside their own perspective. They cannot truly imagine what it is like to be you because they are too focused on maintaining their own self-image. The effect on you is a deep sense of loneliness. You realize that you are alone in the relationship. You cannot share your vulnerabilities because they will be used against you or ignored. You learn to suppress your emotions, to handle your pain in silence, because expressing it yields no comfort. This emotional starvation is devastating. It leads to a feeling of emptiness, where you question whether your feelings matter at all. The sixth sign is triangulation. This involves bringing a third party into the dynamic to create jealousy, insecurity, or competition. She might talk extensively about an ex-partner, comparing you to him. She might flirt openly with other men in front of you. She might mention how many other people are interested in her. The goal is to make you feel like you are competing for her attention. It creates a sense of scarcity. You feel that if you do not perform well, you will be replaced. This is a manipulation tactic designed to lower your self-esteem and increase your effort. It happens because she needs to feel desired by multiple sources to validate her worth. She also enjoys the power of knowing that she can provoke a reaction in you. By making you jealous, she confirms that you care, and therefore she has control. The impact on you is anxiety and insecurity. You start to compare yourself to these imaginary or real rivals. You try to prove your worth by being more attentive, more generous, more accommodating. You enter a competition that you cannot win because the rules are rigged. You are not competing against other men. You are competing against her need for validation. No amount of effort will ever be enough to secure her loyalty, because her loyalty is not based on love, but on utility. The seventh and final sign is the rewrite of history. As the relationship progresses, or when it ends, she will alter the narrative of what happened. She will deny things she said or did. She will claim that you were the one who was abusive, controlling, or crazy. She will present herself as the victim, even if she was the aggressor. This is known as gaslighting on a grand scale. It is an attempt to control the truth. If she can control the narrative, she controls how others perceive you and how you perceive yourself. This happens because she cannot tolerate the image of herself as the villain. To preserve her self-image, she must project all negativity onto you. She rewrites history to align with her current needs. The effect on you is profound confusion and self-doubt. You know what happened. You remember the events. But when she denies them with such conviction, you start to question your own sanity. You worry that you are misremembering, that you are the problem. This cognitive dissonance is mentally exhausting. It makes it difficult to move on because you are still trying to defend yourself against accusations that are false. You want to set the record straight, to make her see the truth. But she will never see the truth, because the truth does not serve her narrative. Recognizing these signs is the first step toward healing. It is important to understand that spotting these behaviors is not about judging her as a bad person, but about recognizing that the dynamic is unhealthy for you. You cannot fix someone who does not believe they are broken.
You cannot love someone into changing their core personality structures. The desire to save them, to prove your love, to be the one who finally gets through to them, is a trap. It keeps you engaged in a cycle that drains your energy and diminishes your spirit. Healing begins when you stop trying to change the outcome and start accepting the reality. The reality is that you deserve a relationship based on mutual respect, consistency, and genuine care. You deserve a partner who takes accountability, who respects your boundaries, and who celebrates your success rather than competing with it. Moving forward requires a shift in focus from her to you. It requires building a life that is so full and meaningful that toxic behavior has no place in it. This starts with setting firm boundaries. Not boundaries that you announce to her, hoping she will respect them, but boundaries that you enforce for yourself. If she crosses a line, you do not argue. You do not explain. You simply remove your access. You step back. You protect your peace. This may mean limiting contact, or, in many cases, ending the relationship entirely. It is not cruel to leave a situation that is harming you. It is an act of self-preservation. Detachment is key. Emotional detachment does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop letting her actions dictate your emotional state. You observe her behavior without reacting to it. You see the love bombing for what it is, a tactic. You see the silence for what it is, a control mechanism. When you stop reacting, you take away her power. You reclaim your autonomy. This process takes time. You will have moments of weakness, moments where you want to reach out, to check in, to see if she has changed. Resist that urge. Remember the pattern. Remember the pain. Remember that the person you are missing is a fantasy, not the reality. Healing is not linear. There will be days when you feel strong and clear, and days when the grief returns. This is normal. Be patient with yourself. Seek support from friends, family, or a therapist who understands narcissistic abuse. Reconnect with the parts of yourself that you lost in the relationship. Pursue your hobbies, your career, your health. Rebuild your identity outside of the relationship. As you do this, you will find that the fog lifts. The confusion fades. You will see clearly that you were not the problem. You were simply in the wrong dynamic. You are not defined by how you were treated. You are defined by how you choose to move forward. You have the strength to walk away. You have the wisdom to recognize the signs. And you have the right to a life filled with peace, respect, and genuine love. Do not settle for less. Do not let fear keep you in a cage. Step into your power. Choose yourself. The future is waiting, and it is bright, clear, and entirely yours.